At the time, I was like, oh, when I get big, it's going to be great and whatever. But I look back and I'm like, those times were just as fun, sometimes even more fun than when you're like more successful and have more money. And then it's so gradual that you don't really like realize it. And I think about this all the time, and I have like moods where I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I've made change in the last 3 years, but I feel the exact same. Your like squad literally, I would say, changed my perspective, a good perspective on my life of just like living in the moment, and you're just like good energy. And I think that's like why I hung out with you a good amount. But even the house I'm in right now, I love everyone in that house, and they inspire me and motivate me. So I think a big thing is like surrounding yourself with good people. It's like who you're with is who you're going to become.
Oh, dude, this guy just stepped in shit. Ugh. Bro, that's in there. Dude.
Does he think that's poop?
Yes, that's for sure poop. Yeah, I haven't seen this food in like...
a year?
In like
a little
year.
Less than a year.
We just filmed something for his channel, but I had some quick little questions.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you have a lot of like growth, right, to do. You're still like in the beginning, you know, you have a lot of like room for growth, but you have made like a pretty drastic like, oh shit, like I kind of got a couple of numbers, right? The way that you feel, do you think that do you actually feel anything change? Do you like all of a sudden have all this motivation, and like, do you think does it feel exactly the same?
Well, I guess like the inspiring answer is like I've changed and all this. In our career, it's like you're oblivious to the numbers and stuff, and you just want more. So it's like you're never happy. But I think,
and I feel like that's in any
job or
in
anything.
any aspect.
Yeah.
Like you get the new car, dude, and you're gonna get over in a week, and you're gonna want another one, and like, and it's, I don't know. I just feel like that's what I've been trying to really like understand myself, is that I keep on passing these milestones that I'm just like, I feel exactly the same. I'm not saying that in a negative way. Like I've kind of, even when I was a dishwasher or anything, like I've always kind of looked at life like, oh, this is great. Like no matter what it was, you know? But I don't know. I've kind of been thinking about that lately. Like I know we have this like super huge goals and all this shit, but are we actually going to feel any different, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like I've made change in the last 3 years, but I feel the exact same. Like coming, even back, we're filming in LA and I live in New York, but like coming back to LA, I'm like, wow, it kind of just feels the same. Because then what are you chasing if you're never like happy, right?
If you're never there,
Yeah.
if you're never like enjoying this exact moment, whether it's you're in the grind, you know? So every day, like this is, and I struggle with this. Like, I'm sure everybody does. Like, I'm sure, like, we always want more. We're always going to want, like, more pay in your job. And I want this title and all this stuff. And it's great to go after these goals. But, like, I think just enjoying the process of all that. And, of course, we always hear that. Enjoy the process or it's going to, like, suck or whatever. But
yeah. No, sometimes even, like, just YouTube specifically, I watch videos and I look back, even when we were living in Hollywood in a teeny apartment. And at the time, I was like, oh, when I get big, it's going to be great and whatever. But I look back and I'm like, those times were just as fun, sometimes even more fun than when you're like more successful and have more money.
yeah.
Because you're like less caring on like, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I 100% back that. And exactly how you're saying, you think that, like, oh, this is, I'm sacrificing all this because of this moment, you know, that it's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna get these numbers and then everything's gonna change. I'm gonna be so happy.
No, yeah, I don't think so. And then it's so gradual that you don't really like realize it.
Obviously, like growth is important, you know. Like I look back and like to those days, and obviously I'm a completely different person. I feel like you feel the same way. Like like every day is just more and more growth, you know. Like that's obviously something that's great. Like you have to be striving for something, I feel. But if that's the only reason why, though, like if you're only doing it for, imagine that, like imagine you were only doing it for
like a number,
and then you get there and you be like, okay,
that's it.
How do you feel like that your perspective towards like business now is like, because I'm sure like you started like just posting with your friends, like fucking around and shit, and you never really paid attention to that, but how do you feel like your perspective towards like making it actual business and you know, make a living?
That's a great question.
Do you think like your perspective changed on it?
I think in a way, I think I've gone through, like, it happened kind of fast in the last year where I try to be so professional about it, and I think that's good, but then I took it too serious and then, like, was too, like, it has to go this way, and now I'm at the point where I just kind of, like, let it happen, and whatever happens, and just enjoy the process of that, if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
If that answers your question.
No, that makes sense. Do you feel like, because I know you mentioned earlier that, like, now you're kind of more smart about, like, all right, like, this is probably not beneficial, like, time-wise and, like, money-wise.
Yeah, like, sometimes, and then even the outcome, I've realized, like, if I do put all this effort or, like, go get this certain prop and make it this big deal, it, like, doesn't even matter at the end of the day. So it's like, not worth it, don't even think about it, move on.
Yeah.
You know, I think now it's like the little decisions I make aren't as, like, like, I don't worry so much about every little decision. It's just like the bigger goal.
That's growth. That's what I always hear about, like all these, like, very. That's probably loud as hell.
No, because I don't talk about this at all because I think people think it's boring. But there's so many people probably watching that are in this exact, you know, thing where they're like they can relate to this, and I think about this all the time, and I have, like, just moods where I'm like, oh, what am I doing, and, like, all this. And I think before I never had that, like, the big picture thought. Like, now I'm like, what's the smart way to go, and, like, looking, like, long term, where, like, 2 years ago or whatever I was just like, doesn't matter, I'm just gonna film and have fun. And I still do that and, like, just film and have fun, but, like, more, I guess, like a ballpark guess than just a guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm still guessing and, like, having fun, but I'm more, like, smarter about the risks I'm taking.
Because I feel like a lot of people, like, say look at your videos and then they, like, it's good to see other people and get motivated, but I feel like there's also the other way. Like, look at your life and be like, man, my life sucks. Look at what he's doing, and he's probably happy every day. He's probably so motivated. Which is
for real. There's different aspects. Like, I went home recently, and all my friends have, like, a different life and a different job, and seeing their life is very different compared to, like, just being in a house of influencers, and, like, we all have the same life, and I'm comparing on that, like, influencer level. But then when I'm home, I'm seeing, like, whoa, the other sides of the world, and, like, wow, I'm very fortunate to be doing something I like.
Going back to the first question, do you feel like you're a little more motivated though, like, now that you do have numbers, or
no? If anything, like,
do you feel like it's more of a crutch?
Yeah, like, when I think even right now I'm going through the process of, like, trying to change my format and try harder on my videos, because recently I'm not, like, I'm proud of the videos I'm putting out, but I think I put a lot more work in when I was living in LA and grinding way harder. Maybe not, like, time management, but of effort, I think.
Do you feel like it's a crutch because now you have so many people watching, or
Yeah, it feels not as, like, I don't know, when I felt more, like, connected, and that's what I'm trying to get back to, of, like, now I it's hard for me to, like, process that those are actual people watching. And then,
because before, even, like, remember when you guys did the meetup, like, that in your fucking tiny apartment, like, that was cool.
Yeah, and that was more like a community and, like, strong, and we're like, oh, we got to make every video a banger. We were going, like, every Wednesday, and now I kind of, like, I didn't let off the brakes, but I guess I got more, like, used to it and, like, more, like, okay and stable, I guess. But yeah, I think I was honestly working harder back then, but now I'm working smarter.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're still probably, like, it's just the reps got easier, you know? Yeah. So it's not like you're, like, not working anymore. Like, before you probably were like in editing, you know, you get faster at editing because you've done it so many times, you know?
Yeah, and I think maybe the grind seemed harder because you're like, I didn't reach the goal, like, I'm chasing. But then now it's like, oh, maybe you achieved the goal. And now it doesn't seem as much of a chase. But then you don't like when you're losing, you think about that more than when you're winning. Like, you're more hungry when you're like, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. But then when you are, like, doing good, I think you don't appreciate it as much.
Like, you're easy to be complacent.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens a lot with rappers, for sure. I see that all the time. It's like they're, like, once they get, like, this, like, number, for one, it's obviously more people watching, so you're kind of like, you're kind of more even hesitant on what like, oh, is this even good enough? Because now it's like there's people watching. Like before, no one was watching, so you're able to post stupid shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
How do you feel about like since now you get more people, that means it's more wider, which means more people that are talking shit. Do you get that, like more people or
no? Well, there's definitely more. And then recently I did a series with like Kyla, and they're just all like talking, like just making assumptions about like relationships and stuff, and it's just like a more hate than I'm used to. Not even hate, but just like, what's the word, like
just any type of negative?
Yeah, like a little like questioning and stuff, and then I start to question my stuff. But then yeah, I try not to look. I even right now I'm trying to not be on social. I think social media is the biggest like toxic thing. Even though that's like my job, and I guess like both of our jobs kind of, it's very like toxic, and you could get trapped in that world.
Yeah, I mean, it's all really what you consume, because I feel like even your stuff, like, it's not like your stuff is a positive thing, like, at least in how I view it. Like, I look at your stuff and I come out like more like, you know, like happy, you know, but there's a lot of shit in there that like on social media that is not that.
Especially comparing. I think that's the big, like one of the biggest things of like, you could always compare and you could always be wanting more, like you said, but then it's like, well, there's always someone bigger and better, so like how are you going to compare and then get to that level, and then you're going to compare yourself to the next up person and the next up.
Yeah,
so you're never like satisfied.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest shit, like not being satisfied with what the hell you have right here. Like that's what I try to remind myself every fucking day, man. I'm like, dude, like we're here, like that's something that I've really been thinking about, is like, yo, straight up, we could fucking die. Like, straight up. Like, I know it sounds fucking like, but like, but that's so fucking legit. Like, there's people that I went to high school with that, I mean, like, it's crazy, bro. Like, it's real life, like, this shit. Like, what are we even stressing about?
Yeah. No, that's a big thing, that even that's my brand now, is no pressure. And your, like, squad, literally, I would say changed my perspective, a big perspective on my life of, just like living in the moment and not really caring, because how you guys acted compared to what I was used to, like when I hung out with you guys. Even the biggest one was when we got stranded in Malibu. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I was like flipping out. I'm like, oh, they're not gonna want to be my friends, or like not even that, but like, oh, this is such a hassle and everything. And you guys were like, well, it happened, like who cares, like, you know, we're just, he had
lost his keys, like, and we had to like hike. We had to do a whole mission to go and try and find his keys.
Yeah, and I literally based my brand off that, and that's a big thing I struggle with, of like stressing out for no reason and like trying to, I don't even know. And then I've like, you guys really helped me just be like, bro, just have fun and like live, and whatever happens,
just
happens.
Be. That's like the,
and enjoy the present, because you're really big on that too, and like, oh, thankful for every day, and like, you know,
I try to be, you know, I have my fucking days, like, for sure.
No, but compared to being like chasing and then always wanting more, and then you're never like happy, and then the times you do, we're grinding, it's just like you're blacking out and you don't even remember the fun it was, you know, in your room grinding it out, or because that is fun and it's part of the process. You got to enjoy it.
And a lot of people like that I've listened to that I've already made it, like, they always talk about how that's the most fun part,
right?
And then we're over here trying to escape this and trying to like skip.
Yeah, but they're also like rich and famous and have all the money, so.
Yeah, but it's easy to just look at them and be like, oh yeah, because you have all the money. But look at you, like, you have the numbers and you're saying this, and they're probably like, I mean, because you do this, you know. So it's just so interesting that everyone has their own perspective and you can view things however you literally want. That's one thing that I promise you, when I was washing dishes and all this shit, like, I fucking was right there, and I was obviously, like, some days sucked, but like,
you had a good,
I was fucking just right there. I was just like washing these dishes, like,
even my dad always says how upbeat and like positive, and you're just like good energy, and I think that's like why I hung out with you a good amount, and like I just liked hanging out, because you brought my mood up and it made me. So it's like even the house I'm in right now, I love everyone in that house, and they inspire me and motivate me. So I think a big thing is like,
right?
Surrounding yourself with good people. It's like, who you're with is who you're going to become. So
That's like literal facts. And what you like consume too, like what you watch on the internet, if you're just watching like all this shit, like, dude, that's how you're gonna be.
Yeah.
That is like a huge one though, like who you surround yourself with. And
that's one of the biggest things. And I've learned, like, it doesn't matter if they're famous, because there's been some people where I'm like, damn, this guy's so famous, and we're hanging out, and there was a phase where I'd like kind of not kiss up to them, but like kind of like kiss their ass, and then I'm like, bro, they're like, if
humans.
they're fake, or they're just humans. So now I'm on the point of like, I just want people that make me happy and I can make them happy, and then we just like strive together.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
this was sick. Little mini podcast real quick.
Yeah, little OGs. No, I feel like I'm bad with explaining stuff, but I do love like on YouTube when people just talk, because probably a lot of people are going through this, and I try to be like more vocal too. But yeah, that's good stuff to think about, and don't think too hard about it, but just have it in your mind.
Nah, bro, you're thinking about this shit like all day.
Yeah.
You don't have a...
Yeah, it's crisis.
All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. That was interesting. Those are like my actual like questions that I did have for you. Like, do you actually feel different? You know, like that's why it's
hard to answer too, but I think that was a good answer.
Nah, yeah, I think that was great. Okay, thanks for watching, y'all.